This project is suitable for a first-time veneer user and can be completed using common tools and no prior experience with woodworking. The plain pine box was purchased from my local Target store for approximately $7. The attached hardware, hinges, and clasp will need to be removed prior to bonding any veneer to the body. The veneers chosen for this project are walnut burl for the main visual interest. The main body veneer is Santos rosewood. It was chosen because it has vivid horizontal striped lines. And then as an accent, I chose a nice curly maple. When it's finished, it has a nice chatoyance look to it. The tools required to complete this project can all be found in this image. A straight edge, so you can get clean, straight edges. Some blue painter's tape. Some common safety razor blades. Sandpaper, 220 grit or finer. A couple of plywood pieces lined with waxed paper. And a minimum of 2 adjustable clamps. Common wood glues, such as those shown in the image, will work perfectly fine for small projects such as this. Titebond is the one I happen to prefer. Titebond 1, 2, and 3 will work perfectly fine for this project. Here are examples of a superior adhesive made specifically for working with veneers. Other adhesive that's often referred to as contact cement is never a good choice for raw wood veneers, the kind I offer. Raw wood veneers and contact cement are not a good combination. Contact cement is best left for non-porous materials such as formica or paperback veneers. The white lines are my cut lines. I've allowed myself 1/8 inch on either side for adjustment of placing the veneer onto the box itself. This will ensure that I have 100% coverage on any side. I've aligned my straight edge with my white cut lines. Using my safety razor, I make several light passes, severing the wood fibers with slightly increasing pressure downward. It's better to make several light passes than 1 or 2 heavy cuts and to chance tearing out the wood fibers. I've used the safety razor and the straight edge to complete all necessary cuts marked where indicated. I have moved the walnut burl in position and surrounded it with the accent pieces. I have assembled all the cut veneers needed for this project. Notice on the Santos rosewood I have written in white some letters indicating right, front, left, and back, and also an arrow indicating orientation. This will ensure that the grain will be contiguous as it surrounds the box. Here I've applied a layer of adhesive just inside the black layout lines on the lid, where the central visual interest veneer walnut burl is going to be placed. Orientate the burl veneer over top of the glued area. Using downward finger pressure, force the veneer into the adhesive. This will ensure that you have 100% coverage on the reverse side of the burl. Using your clamps and your wax paper plywood covered pieces, place your walnut burl lid under clamping pressure. Please check the orientation because it may have shifted under pressure. It is extremely slippery at this point. Keep under clamping pressure for just 60 minutes and remove. Using your straight edge, trim off any excess glue squeeze out at this point while it's still soft. It's much easier to clean it up now than it is if you left this dry overnight. Mitering the corner is done with downward hand pressure. Orientate the safety blade as shown. Push down until both accent pieces are severed. I'm only showing the last corner, but all were cut in similar manner. A little bit of adhesive will need to be applied to the underneath of the accent pieces at the corners. Clamp in place. I've orientated the veneers around the main body of the box. Notice I have written in white letters R for right with arrows indicating direction, front indicating to be applied to the front with also arrows indicating up, L for left, and back with arrows indicating up. Also notice that I've written on there twice. The second one is so that it's to preserve the orientation of that veneer so it follows the lid in the grain flow as well as what position on the box itself. To save some time, we are bonding both the left and right sides of the box at the same time. This step may be a little more advanced than you want to tackle the first time, so you can do one side at a time. I've applied a layer of adhesive like I did for the lid. Notice I use blue tape to hold the veneer in place. Keep it in clamps for 60 minutes or longer. Cut off excess flush with the sides. Preserve the large cutoffs. They are for the lid sides and the top banding. We're now repeating the same steps we did for the left and right sides, but we're applying it to the front and back. Notice that I'm again using blue painter's tape to hold the veneers in place while it's being placed under clamps. This prevents it from slipping out of orientation while you're applying the clamping pressure. Leave in clamps for 60 minutes or longer. Trim off the excess flush with the sides. Veneering the lid will be done in the same manner we did for the base of the box, starting with the left and right side simultaneously, using the pieces that we've retained from the cutoffs from the base of the box. Preserve the cutoffs from these as well because we're going to be using those as the cross banding for the lid. Placing the edge banding on the lid is done in much the same way as the accent strips. Because they are larger and not easily held in place by hand, I use 1 drop of adhesive as indicated by the red arrow and clamp in place for 30 minutes. This tacks them in place so the miter corners can be cut easier. Santos is a much harder veneer, so slight tapping with a small hammer will make short work of the miters. Once cut, the rest of the adhesive can be applied to the underside of the edge banding. Clamp in place for 60+ minutes. Using 220 grit or finer sandpaper, sand the entire surface of your veneered box. I recommend using worn 220 grit sandpaper. New sandpaper tends to introduce more scratches to the surface than the veneer actually contained. Your project is now ready for a finish. Since it's real wood, you can apply any finish as you would a solid wood box. I like a white bond oil finish or a spray satin lacquer. Here are examples of my previous work using the same techniques used in this project.